All right, let's talk about wrist pain, specifically alleviating the wrist pain. Wrist pain usually is gonna manifest itself when you're doing front squats, when you're doing thrusters, overhead squats, or even snatches, okay? But the wrist pain is generally a causation from the lat muscle being too tight and not allowing the joint in the shoulder to be opened up and externally rotated. So there's a few things that we can do to alleviate the pain and eventually fix the pain in the wrist. There's 4 things. First, always do a general warm-up. You want the heart rate elevated and the blood being circulated throughout the body. So that could look like 3 rounds of a 300-meter row, 20 squats, and 10 overhead presses. Or something that's full body, like a row, a squat, and then a press, just to warm up upper and lower body and get the heart rate moving. After that, we want to do some soft tissue mobilization. When it comes to the shoulder joint, what I would recommend is foam rolling the lat area here. So if this is my foam roller, I'm just going back and forth kind of on the outside part of my shoulder or my rib cage. So I'm not exactly here, I'm more back here. All right, and then I can also use, work on my rotator cuff. So if I have a little cross ball, I might work through some ranges of motion here. Okay, it's probably easiest on a wall. Okay, I can rotate through some ranges of motion here using a lacrosse ball. But I can also use the lacrosse ball to work on my lats, okay? And still do the same thing, working through some ranges of motion here. All right, after we do some soft tissue mobilization on the shoulder, we might want to do it on the forearm and specifically what I call the tennis elbow area. So it's as simple as taking a lacrosse ball and you can smash the forearm here. Once you find an icky spot, kind of put some pressure into it, you can also reverse and open up the hand and get this part of the elbow, which gets really tight and can cause some wrist pain, okay? It's also probably best if you use a barbell and then you can smash the forearm and the back of the arm, or the top of the arm rather. That is soft tissue mobilization. Then we go into some dynamic stretches. For the shoulder, we want to do something like prayer rotations, which would look like this. Okay, I'm maintaining a hollow position in my back. I'm trying to curl it and drop my head down as much as I can. Okay, I'll start to feel it kind of in my lat shoulder area. If I drop my chest to the ground and allow my body to arch, it's more of like a thoracic stretch. Okay, I kind of feel that more in my upper to mid back than I do in my shoulder. Okay, similar, I can just do child's pose here while maintaining that curvature in my spine. There I'm gonna feel it more in my shoulder than I will in my lat. The prayer rotations, I will feel more in my lat over the shoulder. Then I can do something like wall slides, which is probably my favorite. You're just trying to get your low back against the wall, as well as your upper back, then your elbows and your wrists. Go up as high as you can, come back down. Okay, I would do maybe 6 of those. They take a while, but they're great. That's some dynamic stretches for the shoulder and lat area. For the wrist, I would do something like floor leans. Okay, so if this is the ground, you can also do it on a box. You're just trying to get the shoulders in front of the wrists and then come back. Shoulders in front of the fingernails and then come back. You can also go side to side. You can face the fingers back. You can put the hands upside down here. Okay, those are great dynamic stretches. You can also do something as simple as wrist rotations. Okay, some people even go as far as spelling out the alphabet, A, B, C, D. Okay, it just kind of looks funky. So I would just probably do some wrist rotations. A lot of Olympic lifters do this. Okay, or you can just do some floor leans, both ways. All right. After we do some soft tissue mobilization and some dynamic stretches, then we want to work on some eccentric contractions of the muscle. So anything that's loaded and lengthening the muscle. So for the lat shoulder area, I would like to do something like pull-up negatives. So I'm going to jump up, or chin-up negatives, and come down slowly. I can also just do a bar hang. If I'm really wanting some warmth, to get warmed up, I can do some single arm hangs. Okay, those are some great eccentric or isometric contractions on that shoulder joint to further warm me up for a front squat or overhead squat and alleviate some wrist pain. Additionally, for eccentric contractions for the wrists, I can do something like palm up, and then I let it drop, bring it back up, slowly let it drop, slowly let it drop, okay? And same thing here. Slowly let it drop, then come up, slowly let it drop, okay? Hopefully that was a lot of tools that you could put in your tool basket or toolbox to help alleviate some wrist pain. Again, in summary, I would prioritize the shoulder and lat specifically over some wrist forearm stuff, just because the pain is manifesting itself in the wrist, but it's almost always a cause of the lat or shoulder not being as mobile or loose as it needs to be. So focus on the lat area more than the wrist, but if you have time, doing both is ideal. And then for times when it really hurts, use wrist wraps.